there, and thank you for joining Paper Crafting with Tracy. Today we're going to be making this beautiful card here. It's almost like a little window, and we're going to be using the Flower of Friendship stamp set, which I've used before. I think it's a very versatile one. I'm not going to be using the sentiments in this one. I'm actually going to use a different sentiment because I've got a couple thank you cards already, and I wanted one more just for friendship. So what we're going to start with is just some basic white, and I'm using the circle dies, or layering circle dies, which you can see here. And what I've done is I've cut out a circle, and I've also cut out a piece of melon mambo with the coordinating scalloped circle dies. As you can see, they come so just one size bigger. So I'll put that aside. You can see where I've stamped in here before. And I'm going to use this big flower, and I'll ink it up here. Okay. And again, as I've said before in other videos, when you've got a large stamp like this and you want to ink it up and your stamp pad's not big enough, if you do it on top, then you can see where it's evenly stamped. I'm not so worried about the bottom because I know that's not going to be in the stamp. Or in the image. So I'll stick that in here. Make sure it's all even. There we go. Put that aside. And now I'm going to color this. So I'm going to use my stamping blends as I've done previously. So I've got the dark Daffodil Delight, the dark Granny Apple Green, and the dark Melon Mambo. And actually, I'll give that just a moment before I start coloring that in, just because it does, it is a tiny bit wet. So if I start with the darker colors, it won't be so bad, but if I start with the yellow, it will bleed a tiny bit. So we'll just quickly color that in. It doesn't take very long for it to dry. So just quick. You could color your flowers any color and then add the accent that fits. And just like so. I'll do the green next to make sure it's well and truly dry before I start with the yellow. I love these Stampin' blends. They just are so versatile. And now the final. And if you haven't seen the Stampin' blends before, they come with two different points. They come with the paintbrush, which is what I'm using, but it also comes with a fine tip point as well. But for coloring, I like doing the more the paintbrush end. And the more you go over with these, the darker things get. And when you use them with the lighter version, because you can get them in a pair, the dark and light of each color, then they're blends, because you can, just by going over them, blend in the colors so that you got shading. So there we go. So now I'm just going to take this and attach it to my backing. And you can see it goes right through, but that's okay. So I'll get my Stampin' seal here. To add some into the back. This is a really quick, simple card. Okay, and you can put a birthday sentiment, anything on there. So I'll get a piece of basic white cardstock, and this is a little bit bigger than I would normally use, because normally I would put a border around, but I didn't want to with this one because I wanted the focus being here. So this one is the 4 by 5 1/4. And I'll just stick that in the center. Like so. And now I'm going to put my sentiment on there before I attach this. So I'm going to actually use the Celebrate Sunflower stamp set. And I'm going to use this Let's Celebrate You. And we'll get that, and I'm just going to do it in the black. So I'll ink that up really well. There we go. And now we will get ready to put it on to our the back of the card base, which I'm just using basic black. So we'll get. So I hope you enjoy these tutorials. I do appreciate those of you that have subscribed to the channel, and if you haven't, I do invite you to just subscribe to my channel so that you stay up to date on these. So we'll stick that on there. And now I'm going to add some ribbon. Now I didn't have a ribbon that was the color of the melon mambo like I wanted, so I'm going to make my own. So I have this crinkle white ribbon, and I'm just going to use my blends, and I will color it. Just like so. And it dries pretty quick. Okay, so while I'm waiting for that to dry, just for a moment, I will take the basic white and melon mambo. This is our usual 3 3/4 by 5, and this is the 4 by 5 1/4. And I'll just move these off to the side. That's for the inside. And now I'll attach this to the inside of the card. Move this aside, stick that in. And now my ribbon should be ready. So I'll just make a quick bow here. Oops, pulled too much. Let's try that again. Of course, it's all, I'm all thumbs now tonight. So when you do color this, it does make the ribbon a tiny bit more stiff once it's been colored, which sometimes can be a benefit and sometimes not. So there we go. We'll just get that how I want it looking. Fuss with it a little bit. There we go. And now I'm just going to use glue dots to attach that. So I'll just look for my next glue dot. There we go. Attach that. I'll stick it on, and now I'll use my ribbon scissors. And these scissors I only use for cutting ribbon, and that's why I put a little piece of ribbon on there. And I'll just trim the ends. And there we have a very quick, simple card using the Flowers of Friendship stamp set. So I hope you've enjoyed this edition of Paper Crafting with Tracey. Please subscribe to our channel, as well as follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest at Paper Crafting with Tracey. Happy stamping!